Hey guys, Hyped here. Today I'll be going over the Mage deck you may have recently seen me use in the VGVN tournament. I also used it on ladder. I made it the day that Mad Scientist came out, which was also the day that Dark Cultist and Death Spy came out, so there's a little bit less Hunter on the ladder and a lot more Warriors and Priests, and I was able to get to rank 2 Legend. And it was pretty good then, but I had to stop playing the deck for a while when Hunters got too popular. It's just not good against Hunter. It's not even... I mean, Flare really hurts, but I think this deck would lose even if Flare wasn't in the game. But yeah, it's a really good control killer deck. I made it originally to beat Warrior, Priest, and then also to beat Miracle and Zoo. With things like Blizzard and Doomsayer, you can beat Zoo, and yeah, just Blizzard and Ice Block are good against Miracle. But yeah, the first thing a lot of people notice about the deck is that it has no Fireball. People compare it to like the old Giant Mage, which was, you know, a few Giants, Alexstrasza, a lot of Freeze, and a lot of Burn. But it really doesn't play the same as that at all. A lot of times it often goes to Fatigue, and the way Duplicate works is, say you duplicate something like a Cairn. Cairn is already a really slow creature. You have to play it, and then you don't really get value out of it until 3 turns later when maybe you swung twice and has died and you actually get the Bane. And imagine if you duplicate this too, is that if you duplicate a Cairn on 6, then you're going to play another one on 7, and then you're going to play another one on 8. And it's very slow, and you have to get value out of the one you play on 8, by doing things like slowing the board and freezing the board and slowing the game down. And Ice Block helps that too. But yeah, Frostball is there because you do need some early plays. These are your 3 drops, and Doomsayer isn't always a good play on 2. It is against aggro decks like Zoo. It's great. But yeah, Frostbolt is fine on turn 2 to Frostbolt a threat. Also, it helps you get guys on the board. Your minions are very expensive, so that's why you'd like to freeze the board, or freeze a minion for 2 damage so you can get one of your expensive guys on the board. Yeah, just Frostbolting like a 3-2 is fine. Doomsayer is often played on 2, or it's not often played on 2, I don't know. Playing it on 2 is fine, but also you have 2 Frost Novas, a Cone of Cold, and a Blizzard that you can play with as freezes. You can also play with something like a Sludge Belcher, it's fine. And yeah, if the board is totally empty, if you have a good follow-up play, like something like a Cairn, if the board is empty on 5, you can feel free to play a Doomsayer just to set up for your Cairn. Mad Scientist, this card is huge. Giant Mage, before this card came out, was a very high variance deck. It had the power to be way stronger than Handlock, but on average, Handlock was way better than Giant Mage. But this thing really improves the consistency. It helps you get your Duplicate or your Ice Block a lot, and plus you don't have to spend the mana on Arming the Secret, which is huge. 3 mana is just way too much for a Freeze Mage. You'll find that as you play this deck, you have plenty of cards, even though you don't have much draw. This is the only draw because you don't want any draw minions that'll mess up your Duplicate. So you only have the spell draw. But you really, it's all you need because you have so many expensive cards. And that's why things like you'll find that mana is super tight, and you'll be loving things like Frost Nova and Cone of Cold over Blizzard because you'll actually be able to play one of your threats with Frost Nova. Remember, you're duplicating these very expensive creatures, so you need all the mana you can get. Ice Block, it's Ice Block. Everyone knows what it does. It's self-explanatory. It's important with Molten Giants and Alex. Cone of Cold, again, Blizzard is a great spell, but you'd really love to be able to actually drop something, or even play one of these cheaper cards in Cone of Cold rather than Blizzard. Polymorph is super important. Cards this deck has trouble with are things like Kel'Thuzad and Rag, and Cairn, which you really need Poly for. And then we get to the actual creatures. Again, since there's Duplicate, you don't want anything too cheap. And from 3 to 4 is when minions start to get really powerful and efficient. Like Yeti is already way better than every 3-drop. And then if things like Twilight Drake and Wire Elemental are actually even stronger and more valuable than Yeti. And this deck can easily support Twilight Drake because it's usually pretty big, like a 4/5, 4/6. And then if you duplicate it, it gets even bigger. Also, it's less vulnerable to silence because if they silence and kill it, you duplicate up, you just get 2 back, and you're happy with that. Water Elemental is just way better than Mountain Giant. Mountain Giant's really bad. Water Elemental is just really good. And it's all you need at this point in the game. If you drop it on 4 or coin it on 3, it trades with everything that has been dropped prior, and it stays alive. Great with Duplicate as well. Sludge Belcher, just a great card. Again, usually behind on board, so you need like the taunt to trade with their lower guys that they've flooded the board with at this point. Blizzard is one of the weaker cards in the deck. This could be cut for something like another Cone of Cold or a Polymorph. I'm keeping it for now. It's pretty good against Zoo and Shaman, and originally I had 2 in the deck because I was expecting a lot of Miracle Rogue as well, which is good against Concealed Gadgets and Concealed Edwin as well. But this might get cut soon, either for a second Flame Strike or another Cone of Cold or Polymorph. Karen, this is where your high value creatures start, so in a control matchup you don't have to duplicate the 4-drops if you don't want to. You can save duplicate for Karen if you are able to, and then they just can't catch up in value. Like say Control Warrior sometimes has to throw in 1-2 removal spells into Karen, and then you get 2 back, they just can't keep up. And it helps you fatigue Priests and Warriors. Sylvanas, same thing, great in the control matchups, especially when you're behind. They have 2 guys on board, you just throw Karen, they have to decide if they want to trade into it or flood the board. And then you can punish them with A if they decide to flood the board. Also, if you have Sylvanas on the board and they just put a whole bunch of guys on the board, you can just also freeze their board and just slowly just kill something with Karen, kill something with Sylvanas, keep your Sylvanas alive, freeze them again, keep Sylvanas alive again, just continues to be a nuisance for them. You don't really have to worry about him or her getting silenced because you have Doomsayer that they have to save silence for, and also they'll throw silences into Twilight Drake. And also sometimes they'll silence to unfreeze their guys. Flame Strike, pretty self-explanatory, it's just AoE, high value card. Again, you're trying to fatigue people, so killing all their low cards is good. Rag, high value card, great in the deck. Usually you can't really get them duplicated though because it's a little too expensive, but duplicates are already been going off at this point in the game. Alex, just amazing synergy with Molten Giants and Ice Block. You want to do things like have Ice Block active, set up a Doomsayer so that they can't kill the Doomsayer, so they just go all in on killing your block, and then their board gets wiped, and then you Alex yourself on an open board. So Doomsayer, again, it's set up for any creature it sets up for, but Alex is one of the better ones, if you can afford it. And then also, so you set up a Doomsayer, set up a Freeze, set up an Ice Block, and maybe they'll go all in, try to pop your Ice Block, let the Doomsayer go off, then you drop 2 Molten Giants, and then Alex yourself, something like that. But yeah, so that's the deck. Again, no fireballs because you're not trying to burn them down with Alex. It's almost always used on yourself. Every once in a while, you'll have your Giants on board. You can Alex them and just instantly kill them. Or sometimes against control matchups, they haven't done much damage to you. You can get an Alex out early and just do the full 15. Pretty valuable, but you're not really trying to burn anyone down with this deck. You're trying to fatigue people and just control the game. So yeah, I'll head into some games now. This deck is a lot better in tournaments where you can ban Hunter. The ladder just reset, so hopefully there's not too many people playing Hunter. Hopefully everyone got bored of it. But yeah, I'll record some games and hopefully show you some non-Hunter games.